a little while ago, I was watching a video by UnchartedX, and I watch a lot of other related videos where they talk about what these ancient structures could have been in Egypt. And there's some weird things like tool marks and features in stone that's hard to cut that really look like big machinery. And I'm convinced that's real. But I was watching this one video where he had a VHS of someone working with Zahi Hawass, who's, I don't know his exact title, but they were supposed to reveal these structures inside the Sphinx. And it was a VHS, so it had to have been, 90s or 2000s. I don't remember the exact time frame. And he's standing below this area to go to these underground structures below the Sphinx, and they were going to reveal it on tape. Well, UnchartedX went back to this place and saw that it's now filled in and completely covered with what looked like either concrete or something else. It looked like concrete to me, but it's a video, so it wasn't good quality, so I couldn't quite really tell what the floor was there. The question I've got, when you look at the pyramids, there's no real direct line of sight from the King's Chamber. If you look at Giza, I think I'm using the right words or right names here. If you look at the King's Chamber, if you look at a cross section, there's no direct single line of sight going out of this thing other than maybe these small, like rectangular observation hole, or like whatever, these really small passages that kind of angle upward towards the sky. The rest of them, there's no direct line of sight. These chambers come down, like the King Chamber's up here, but these other things come down and they leave at these weird sloped angles. And they also indicated that they weren't really made for people to climb up and down, because they had to put these wooden stairs and things there. Well, just thinking, if you had something really radioactive there, and it was giving off a lot of gamma, for instance, like gamma rays, really strong stuff that you don't want people to see, stone is an excellent blocker of this. Really thick stone would stop that. But what you would not want if you're trying to protect people is a direct line of sight from what is hot or what is radioactive. And now I'm wondering, seeing that in these pyramids, when Zahi Hawass was supposed to go down here with this other guy and record this great unveiling of these passages under the Sphinx, and it was filled in with concrete suddenly with no real explanation, was there something hot down there? Was there something radioactive giving off something? Because concrete would block it. You would need concrete or a bunch of steel. Concrete is a little bit more permanent in this instance because it doesn't rust. And it kind of looks like stone, so you don't really question that being closed off. You're like, sealed up. Just a thought. The other thought I have is this old disease or this old illness that killed people when they open, was it Tutankhamun's tomb, I think it was? If you look into this, these people that opened this tomb or had first had access there had a mysterious illness and died. And I'm not a medical expert by any means, but they indicated it could potentially be radiation poisoning, or there could be something there. So if you had something very radioactive inside the pyramids, it decays. Whatever it is, if it's uranium or plutonium or something else, there are these big complicated decay chains where they give off other things called fission products. And so plutonium and uranium, I don't know the exact chemistry or the exact neutronic charts of how they give off neutrons and beta decay and gamma decay and all these different decays, and they step down into different elements, starting in uranium, and they go, I think, to like lead, and then some other things along the way. They make these other elements. So there would have been a lot of other radioactive elements that aren't uranium and plutonium, or remnants of it, little dust, things like that. That's what people worry about when you go to these places. They still give off radiation, and it's a different type. Like, you'll get gammas, which are really painful and go through a lot of stuff. You have to stop them with something like stone or steel or concrete. just all these things together make me wonder and make me think, man, if I wanted to protect people for something very, very radioactive, if I surround it by a bunch of stone and don't have a straight line of sight to whatever is radioactive, say it's like a little bit above all these passages and the only openings are pointing to the sky, which might have been filled in with something else like an instrument, really makes me wonder looking at those if there was something really radioactive there. I'm not saying it was a power. I'm not saying it was a weapon. I'm not saying what it was. I'm just observing that it really does look like something was there and it was highly radioactive. And if you suddenly find in this deep underground passage below the Sphinx that no one's looked at before, and you're going to show it on video, and you don't want everyone to know that you just found something very radioactive, you would get out of there, one, for your own personal safety so you don't get irradiated. Two, you would seal it up with concrete so that no one could get in there and move it around and spread radiation everywhere, and you don't create an international incident where other countries are going to be suddenly highly interested in the radioactive material you found buried underground. So to cover that up and to not draw attention to it, oops, we can't show you this. We had to seal it up because for whatever reason, I don't know if they gave a reason, but something to think about.